Hi guys, welcome back to my channel again. Today we are going to be making a dress and a corset belt. Okay guys, so let's get started. The first thing we are going to be doing now, like we always do, is to fold our fabric into two with the biggest part of our body. And on this dress, we're going to be adding a zipper at the back of the dress. So after folding your fabric into two for the front, use that front to get the back. You have to measure 1 inch allowance for our zip at the back. Okay, after measuring your 1 inch, you pin the front part and also the back part of your piece together. Pin it down to hold it down together. Measuring our shoulder. After measuring your shoulder, you come down with 1 inch for our shoulder slope. Then impute your armhole measurement. So because this is a cut together sleeve, like we are not going to be cutting sleeves separately, we're going to be getting our sleeve from this pattern we're cutting now, the cut together sleeve for the dress. So we are going to be imputing our armhole. We are not going to be dividing our armhole by 2 like we always do. Just impute your right armhole measurement, which is your bust divided by 6 plus 1.5 inches, okay? For the back and the front, the wideness of the neck, I'm using 3.5 inches. So for the front, the depth of the front neckline, I'm also using 3.5 inches for the depth of the front neckline, okay? While for the back, I needed a depth of 1.5 inches for the back depth of the neck. So the front depth is 3.5, the back depth is 1.5, and the wideness of the neck I'm using for this dress is 3.5 also. Then you measure from your shoulder to your waistline. So shoulder to your waistline for me is 17. So because this is a very free dress, we're going to be imputing our hip measurement on our waistline, but we are not going to be imputing any extra allowance for the waist. You measure from your waist to get your hip line, which is 9. Your waist to your hip line is 9. So after you measure 9 on your hip line, impute your hip measurement plus 1.5 inches, because I'm using 1.5 inches for this dress. I don't want too much allowance because it's a free dress already. You measure your hip line, your hip measurement you just imputed, measure it, whatever you have there, you impute it on the down part of the dress. So since this is a cut together sleeve, we're going to be inputting our measurement now for the bust. So your bust divided by 4 plus 1.5 inches, impute your bust measurement plus your 1.5 inches and connect the lines. So you're going to be splitting the zip allowance that you gave into two, because we're going to be having 2 pieces for the back and 1 piece for the front. I know that most of you must have seen dresses that have those serious bulging, like too many layers of bulging, bending at the back. So for us not to have that bending, what you do now, for the waist measurement now, as you see me do, you go in with 1/2 inch. But if you are using 2 inches for your allowance for your zip, you go in with 1 inch. After going in with 1/2 inch, you connect that line towards the bust way and connect the other line to your hip way. So after connecting it, you have like a curve or slant line. You cut that 1/2 inch that you measured from the waist, you cut it out. After cutting it out, later on you measure another 1/2 inch inwards, okay, and connect the line. So that is going to be your new zip allowance for this dress. Next thing I'm doing now is I'm measuring the band for my sleeve. I'm going to be putting like a reverse band on my sleeve, for the hand of my sleeve. I'm just cutting it now because I'm just cutting 14 inches long, and the wideness for this I'm using 3.5 inches. That's that for the dress. So we're going to be cutting the under bust corset belt now, okay, but I'm going to be using a pattern paper to cut it. The next thing to do now is I'm going to be measuring the shoulder for this pattern paper. The shoulder coming down with 1 inch slope. Then impute your armhole measurements. Okay, after doing that, next thing we're going to be doing is to measure to get our bust points. Your bust point is your shoulder to your nipple points. That is your bust point. Okay, so after that, you measure your shoulder to your under bust, then also measure your shoulder to your waist. That's 17. So after that, you impute your bust measurements, okay, plus your desired allowance. I'm just adding 1.5 inch allowance, 1.5 inches allowance for this bust line. So moving down to my waistline, I'm imputing my waistline plus 1 inch that. I'm going to be adding that to this top. Then 1.5 inches allowance for this top. After that, the next thing we're going to be doing is to be measuring our nipple to nipple measurement. So place your tape to your nipple to the other nipple divided by 2. Mine is 8, divided by 2 is 4. So impute your 4 inches on the waistline. That is to get your dart. After imputing that 4 inches, you measure 1/2 inch on both sides. Okay, that's for the dart. Then measure your 4 inches also on the under bust line, 4 inches also on the bust line. Then connect the lines and also connect your dart. When connecting your dart point, please, your dart point should start from your under bust to your waist on both sides. So after that, you're going to be measuring from your bust point to your under bust. So whatever you have there, like me, I have 3 now. Whatever you have there is you measure 3 inches at the right and also 3 inches at the left. Just watch me as I'm doing mine, okay? So after that, if you have a French curve, you can use your French curve to curve it to have that cup-like shape. But me, I'm just using a free hand. Sorry, I'm using a free hand. But if you know your hands are not straight, use a curve ruler or a French curve to get that bra cup curve. I don't know if you understand. Okay, as if like this, like we're making a corset, but without the cup. So you use, if you know you can curve it well with your free hand, fine. If you know you can't, use your French curve to do that. But me, I'm using a free hand now to curve it. So this is how it looks. On the bust line, is that 10 inches from my shoulder to my bust, to my shoulder to my nipple, that's the bust line. I came down at the armhole side with 1/2 inch, okay? I don't want that part to be too high on my armpit. I want it a little bit down, slanty at the back. So I came down with 1/2 inch for that line. Just come down with 1/2 inch and connect the line, slant line from the cup we just drew down to that 1/2 inch line I just marked now. Just watch me closely, okay? So guys, for the dart measurement that we measured on this pattern paper, you just fold it in neatly and pin it down. So in our main fabric, we are not going to be inputting dart anymore because we removed the dart already from our pattern. Okay, we've removed the dart already now from our pattern, so we are not going to be inputting dart anymore while sewing on our corset belts. Okay, so just fold it, pin it down, or you glue it down just to hold the darts down. Okay, use your ruler to draw a straight line so you have a straight line at the down part of your corset, because after pinning the dart down, you notice that thing is now a little bit like a V-like shape in between. So you use your ruler to draw it straight to have a straight line for our corset belt. Okay guys, so after doing that guys, all you're going to do is to get another pattern paper, place the front pattern on the back pattern. After placing it properly, you trace the side, the waistline. After marking, use your ruler to connect all the lines together properly, like I'm doing mine. Okay, then after doing that, for the zipper point, which is the line at my right from where you're looking at it from, just the way you see me doing mine, I came down with 2 inches because that is the middle point of our back pattern. So I don't want the back to be too short, so that I have enough room to tie it properly to hold my body. Okay, so guys, at the back now, at the middle point of the back now, I'm going to be going in with 5 inches from the middle point inwards to 5 inches. Why? Because we're going to be inputting our rope, that is our corset rope. We're not going to be inputting zip for the back of this corset belt. I'm going in with 5 inches for the up and also for the back. After that, I cut it out, and that is the pattern for our back. Now we're going to be placing our fabric on fold to cut for the front. Okay, just the way I'm doing mine. Place your fabric on fold to cut out the front piece. I'm going to be lining this corset belt, so I'm going to be cutting 2 pieces for the front and 4 pieces for the back. So that's going to be for the lining. Okay, so guys, after cutting out this pattern on your fabric, the next thing we're going to be doing for the front, we're going to be splitting it into 2. I'm going to be taking off 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to be measuring how many inch we have now for the wideness. We have 2.5 here, so I'm going to be moving 1 inch. So that half inch will be for my seam allowance to join the middle point together. So I'm going to be moving 1 inch now. Measure 1 inch upwards and 1 inch also to the down. Just measure it downwards and cut it out. It's not going to affect anything. You know why? Because the back, we are having a corset rope at the back to tie it. Now guys, let's move on to joining up all the pieces we drafted out for the dress and also for our corset belt. Okay, so we're going to be starting with the back pattern for the dress. What I did was I measured from my neckline downwards after my waist 16 inches. That's where I'm going to be fixing my zip. So I measure 16 inches downward and I'm holding them down with my pin. Then after that 16 inches I marked, I'm going to be sewing a straight line from that 16 inches downwards to the end of the dress. The joining that I did, I just pressed it open. As you can see, I've pressed it open That's the 1 inch allowance for our zip that I gave. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to place the front and the back together and join the both shoulders together. After joining the both shoulders, I'm going to bring it for you to see. So now I've stitched the shoulder together. This is how it is. Okay, after that, now I'm going to be fixing the band for the hand I told you about. Okay, the flip over band I told you about. So now what we're going to be doing, just watch me closely the way I'm doing mine so you can get it right. So you know, if you are piping the neck of a shirt or whatever thing you're piping, is that you pipe it inward for the last stitching or you pipe it outwards. So for this one now, for the hand we're going to be piping it outwards. So now we're going to start the first stitching from the wrong part of the fabric, okay, to fold it to the right part of the fabric. I don't know if I'm making sense, but if you know you don't understand, just watch what I'm doing, okay, so you understand. To sew through the back, then folding at the right part of the fabric, okay? Watch me closely to get it right. So this is the outcome of the band. As you can see, it's very neat, well pressed, the right and also the left hand of this dress. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is to join the both sides together with the right measurement. I don't want mine tight, I'm going to be running it with just 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to be hemming it down, also fixing my zip and piping the neck of my dress. So moving on to our corset belt, we're going to be attaching bunny to these belts, okay, to make the corset belt firm. So now we have 2 different types of bunny. We have the very strong rubber bunny, while we have the already made bunny. That already made bunny, you can easily sew on that bunny. While for the very hard bunny, you can't sew on it because it's very, very hard, so you can't sew on it. The next thing I'm going to be doing now is that front that we divided, okay, we're going to be joining both sides with 1/2 inch, okay, to make it one piece for the front. So after joining, you mark how you want to place your boning. If you want to place your boning straight, you mark it straight. If you want to make your boning in a slant way, that is anyhow you want to be creative, right? Placing your boning, that's up to you. But me, I'm just making mine a little bit slant, okay? So I place the boning for the front and 2 boning for the back to make the back firm. By placing your boning, I'll advise you that your boning shouldn't get to the top part of your top and also the down part. Just make your boning in between so that it can easily, after sewing, you can easily turn it over, okay? Just make it short a little bit so you can easily flip your cloth to the right side after placing your lining. So this is how my boning is. I've placed it everywhere. After placing, what I did, I joined the back and the front together. So what you're seeing there now is the back is added to the front piece. So I've added the 2 back parts to the front piece. That's why it's looking very wide. And that's all the boning. So after that, I also, what I did for the front, I did for the back, but I didn't place boning. I attached the middle point, I attached the 2 back piece to the front. And this is how it is. So I'm going to be placing it on top now to lining it. So I'm going to be stitching the up part of it and also the down part of it. So I'm going to be leaving the both side open. That will help me flip over to the right side after I'm done joining it. So when I'm done, I'll flip it over to the right side and I'll show you how it is. But flipping it over is not going to be easy the way you think it is. So slow and steady wins the race. So just try turning it little by little and little. So this is how it looks after flipping over. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to be doing now is to be fixing our boning at the under part of our bust, okay, to hold that part firm so it won't be falling off, okay. As if you know the way bra is, there's iron underneath to help hold your boobs up. Then we're going to be putting that boning. Now you're using that very hard boning now to put underneath there. So what you do, you place the boning around it to get the right measurement and cut it out. After then, you place the boning from that side that you open, okay. You place the boning round the bra curve, place it there, hold it down with your pin and stitch it. While stitching, it's not really going to be easy. You have to be bending, but at the end of the day, you still get it right. But just be sewing it neatly, slow and steady till you get to the ending. Just be sewing it very slow. It's going to be very hard, but just try to sew it till you get to the ending. Okay, now after fixing it, this is how it is. This is how the bone is under the bust. That's how it is. I'm going to be fixing in those little strap so our rope can pass through. Now I'm going to be fixing 4 strap on one side and 4 at the other side, making it 8 strap. Okay, so I'm going to be cutting the strap. I'm going to be cutting my strap now. Fold it into 2, then fold the back pattern. That's where I'm doing it, and insert the strap inside. So just watch me closely as I'm doing mine. If you know you don't understand what I'm saying, just watch me closely as I'm doing mine so you can understand and do yours exactly as I'm doing mine. Okay.